Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Ladies and gentlemen, never a doubt. Welcome into the Fightins Postgame Show. My name is Marc Farzetta, and this show is brought to you by the wonderful people at Colony Pools and Power Washing. Let them bring your home back to life for the summer of 2023. Give our sponsor a call for the entire baseball season at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250. If you're tired of seeing the ugly green algae stains on your roof, on your siding, and on your deck, then you live in Delco, Chester, in the state of Delaware, let Colony pressure wash your house and take the pressure off you. This was a get-right game for some members of the Philadelphia Phillies. Nick Castellanos being one of them with a 2-run homer there in the ninth inning to help give the Phillies the lead after Bryce Harper tied it up. And then Sir Anthony Dominguez coming in there to get the save in beautiful fashion to help get right from his last appearance there against Pittsburgh Pirate. It was a beautiful thing to see the Phillies pull this one out. Baseball's a lot easier. We're now facing Sandy Alcantara, and I'll just say this right there as well. I love what the Marlins did at the deadline, let me tell you. Outside of Berger, who will probably go yard against the Phillies in one of these two games, whatever. The bottom line is David Robertson comes in there. He was a pre-deadline acquisition there by the Marlins. And, hey, thanks, Mets. Thanks for trading him to the Fish because he was no bueno tonight. He rather stinky. Nice to see you again, David Robertson. Nice to see Kyle Schwarber work that walk, especially after he had a ball called a strike in that at-bat, then worked a walk. Alec Boehm put in a great at-bat, 7 pitches, fought off some pitches, took some pitches that were close, but were definitely out of the strike zone, so good on him. And the 7th pitch of that at-bat, unfortunately, did not end up in a walk, despite the pitch being out of the strike zone and putting runners at first and second with nobody out. Instead, Boehm swung over top a sinker, I think it was, or slider, low out of the zone, swung over top of it. So they needed a runner on first there with 1 out. And then Bryce Harper said, I got you. Phillies had already pinch run Jake Cave for Kyle Schwarber, as they should. Next thing you know, Harper bangs one off the left field wall. Game's tied 1-1. Absolutely beautiful. And then Nick Castellanos comes up there, and man, we talked about how he needed a day off. Rob Thompson gave him a day off, and it just so happens coming back from that day off, you get to flip the calendar page. My, oh my, how struggling baseball players love to flip the calendar page to the month of August in this case. And Nick Castellanos belted a baseball into the left field stands, into the, it's not the Clevelander thing, not that thing anymore, whatever that club bar, whatever it is there in left field. He put it out there, and it was a 3-1 ball game, and the Phillies complete not only the comeback by taking the lead after Bryce Harper tied things up, but, of course, we're able to win that game with Sir Anthony Dominguez handling the business in the bottom of that 9th inning. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And I got to say, I was just waiting with bated breath for Sandy Alcantara to leave that ball game, considering now in his last 2 starts, because I know they made reference during the broadcast to the start he made against the Phillies back in April, where the Phillies just tattooed the man. But you know what they didn't do in the last time they faced Sandy Alcantara, just about a month or so ago, a month and a half ago? You know what they didn't do? They didn't hit him. They didn't hit him even a little bit. Last 2 starts against the Phillies now. 6 2/3, and then today, 8 innings pitched. 1 run, and then, of course, was the last start in the 6 2/3 start. 8 hits, 0 walks, 5 strikeouts a couple months back. And then tonight, 8 innings, no earned runs, of course, no runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So in the last 2 starts against the Phillies combined, 14 2/3, 1 run, 12 strikeouts, 1 walk issued, 12 hits, and 10 strikeouts with 1 walk issued. So, yeah, 1 run in 14 2/3 innings pitched. Yeah, they're not hitting that guy anymore, unfortunately, and he certainly had everything working for him tonight. Similar to the Phillies being able to work walks It was the opposite in this particular instance. Nobody could get on base. And when they could get on base, Sandy Alcantara continuously found his way out of any semblance of a jam that occurred. No better example than that first inning. Schwarber leads off with a single. Bohm follows with a single. Harper then grounds into the 4-6-3 double play. Castellanos then grounds out to third. There's another situation there. Garcia goes up there with the RBI double. Bohm goes up there to save a couple of runs from scoring. That was a great defensive play by Alec Bohm. Yeah, Phillies had another opportunity later in the ballgame. Stubbs got on second with a double, couldn't bring him home. It was just a couple of opportunities the Phillies had in the very early going to the ballgame where they just weren't able to capitalize. And Sandy Alcantara, after that, just hit cruise control. And that was all Alcantara had to say to the Phillies as far as his play was concerned. But I do want to focus on a couple of defensive plays that were made in this ballgame tonight. And yes, we will be getting into the trade deadline news with the Phillies acquisition of Michael Lorenzo, who I think is going to be Lorenzen, who is going to be a very good acquisition for the Phillies. So I'll talk about that in a second, and maybe where the Phillies left a little bit to be desired, but we'll get into that conversation in a second. But a couple defensive plays need to be highlighted. One was the play I mentioned already there with Alec Bohm. In the third inning, let's go chronological order here. Second inning, Garrett Stubbs is able to turn the 2-4-3 double play to end the second inning. Little dribbler was bounced in front of the plate there. He goes out, fields it, doesn't take the easy play to second, fires to first, fires to second, gets the out there. Stott turns the double play, and they're able to get the 2-4-3 double play to get out of that inning. Then let's go to the third inning. Garcia's at the plate. He gets the RBI double. Then Bohm steps up, so that's a 1-0 game at this point, and it could have been a lot worse. You got runners on second and third with 2 outs. Bohm makes the diving play to his left to take a 2-run double away from Birdie. Birdie hit the ball in the nails a couple of different times. The Phillies made some good plays tonight. But in that particular instance, the third inning, if Alec Bohm doesn't make that dive, if he doesn't stop that ball from going into the outfield, that's 2 outs right there. The running on contact, you are scoring on that play. You're scoring 2 runs on that play. Instead, Bohm dives to his left, makes the play, fires the first, gets the out. No runs, no more runs score. It ends in the third inning at 1-0. Then the play of plays that they didn't even mention. While all this was unfolding, they didn't even mention this. Let's fast forward now to the 7th inning. You have the Stubbs play in the second. You have the Bohm play in the third, and then pretty much a smattering throughout the ballgame tonight of Brandon Marsh just making plays for you in left field. I was like, man, he's a pretty good left fielder. He should be out there a little bit more often instead of that other guy that should be the DH. But anyway, 7th inning, Arise gets up to the plate. He belts a double after Stallings, I believe, led off with a walk. He belts a double into the right field corner. Castellanos is in pursuit. The ball sticks under the wall, so Castellanos has to go get it. He retrieves it. Stallings is being waved around third to score. They make the relay throw to Bryson Stott, who makes the perfect relay throw to Garrett Stubbs. Now, frame it right here. Stallings out of gas. Soler, the on-deck hitter, I don't know what he was doing, but it looked like this. It looked like he was just pointing. I don't know if he was pointing to Arise or if he was pointing to Stallings. If this right here is Soler's way of going, you should slide right now, maybe, that's a terrible thing. All right? It used to be, get down! Get down! But he doesn't do that. He just goes, perhaps a slide, sir. Right? Whatever the hell that was. So anyway, Stallings doesn't slide. He continues to run. Now, why is he running? He's watching Soler, maybe? So he thinks he's fine. But if you notice on that play, Garrett Stubbs, and I always say this about Garrett Stubbs, the man is a ball player. Garrett Stubbs is a ball player. He might not play a lot, but he's still a ball player when he plays. Bryson Stott standing there at home plate, and he's just standing there. Now, the relay throw is happening. The ball's coming. Stallings is coming down the third base line to score. And just as cool as a cucumber, in the words of Stuart Scott, as cool as the other side of the pillow, Garrett Stubbs just chilling, man. He's just chilling. He doesn't go down in the crouch to make the play. No. He stays straight up like nothing's happening. So I don't know if Stallings is looking at Stubbs and saying, oh, that they're not even coming home. I'm not going to slide. They're going to throw to third on this because I know Rise is going to be coming around the corner or coming around second to get the third. He doesn't even think the play is being made at home. So Stubbs just stands there, deking out Stallings. Then, boom, out of nowhere, Stubbs makes the play. Tag, quick sweep tag, gets him on the back leg. He's out at home plate by an eyelash. If Stubbs is there at home plate, just with great anticipation, trying to make a play, making it look like telegraphing that he's about to make the play, Stallings is sliding, and he's scoring that run. It was a wonderful play. The second great play in that game made by Garrett Stubbs, who, by the way, today, he was only, 1 for 4? I think he could have easily been 3 for 4 in this ballgame with that double. But he had a couple balls on the screws right at Uriel, who was playing at the first base there, who was diving left and right, making plays on Garrett Stubbs. But that was a thing of beauty tonight by Garrett Stubbs. For all the young catchers out there, that's how you do it, kids. And then let's go to that ninth inning again, man. Before the game, and I want to get to this real quick here. Alex, so we have from Alex Coffey, Alex Schmidt, producer of the show. This is from Alex Coffey, Inquirer.com. Great writer, does a great job covering the Phillies. She put this quote out there regarding Dave Dombrowski before the game. This was after the trade deadline as to why they didn't get another bat in this lineup. Okay? They got Rodolfo Castro. He's going to be your utility player. He's going to be your new Josh Harrison, basically. So they went with a younger guy, I guess you could say right there, okay? But why didn't you get a bat in the lineup? And here's what Dave Dombrowski had to say, and I agree with this, which is why I wasn't all crazy about getting another bat. It would have been nice, but I wasn't crazy about it. Here's what Dave Dombrowski said. We have some good offensive names. Now we have to go out there and do it. We have confidence that they're going to do it. When he looked at who was available at the price we'd have to pay, we kept coming down to the offensive improvement we feel we'll get from within. That is the first thing I thought of when Nick Castellanos hit that 2-run home run. The first thing I thought of. Look, I know we get frustrated with these guys, but man, I want to see them all do well. I know everyone really hates Trey Turner right now, but I mean, it's Phillies still be a much better ball club, if he turns it around and stuff. So yeah, I'm still pulling for him. I'm still pulling for Nick Castellanos to do well. I'm pulling for Nick Castellanos to return to what made him an all-star this year. I'm pulling for Trey Turner to do what made him a $300 million man because I really haven't seen it this year. And I'm pulling for Bryce Harper to be that guy that he could be in the second half of the season. Now, Bryce Harper didn't necessarily need a get-right game, okay? Nick Castellanos did. Trey Turner had hits in 3 consecutive games going into tonight. Of course, took the 0 for tonight, unfortunately. But these are all guys that the Phillies need to see do well. And also, while I was praising the Phillies for a couple of defensive plays, I got to say one thing. Tonight was the first time we saw Bryce Harper not look like a first baseman for 10 years. Okay. It was the first time, and it was the play he made in that first inning where he over-pursued, I believe is the way to call that there. He over-pursued in front of Bryson Stott to get to a ball, and it ended up being an infield single. Not an error because baseball's weird now, but he goes over to field a ball, and then instead of like a solid toss to first base, he underhands it to Ranger Suarez and lofted it, and Suarez had to leap up in the air to get it. And look, no damage. Nobody got the damage was not done in that inning. The run didn't come around to score or anything. But that was the first time we saw Bryce Harper, and it was bound to happen sooner or later. But it was the first time we saw Bryce Harper actually look like someone who hadn't played first base before. All right, I'll still take him over Jake Cave, and I'll still at this point take him over Rhys Hoskins as well. But that was just the first time. It was like, oh look. Superman is mere mortal, sort of. But it was just the first play, so I wanted to at least acknowledge that. And also, Ranger Suarez, speaking of defense, Ranger Suarez made a couple of nice plays there because he always, he had a rough play the other day, but he, generally speaking, normally is the word to use there, normally plays a real solid defensive pitcher. The way to say that? I don't know. I think you know what I mean. He's a good defensive pitcher. He defends his position well. Fields his position well. Thank you. Sorry. Still excited about 3-1 now. So all that's great for the Phillies. Love to see it. Ranger Suarez scattered 10 hits throughout the ballgame. 6 1/3 is what he ended up with tonight. And the Phillies were just playing the patient game right there of waiting for Sandy Alcantara to get out of that game. In total tonight for Sandy Alcantara, looking at this game tonight, as far as the box score goes with the number of pitches, Ranger Suarez threw 81 pitches through 6 1/3 before they went to Junior Marte, and then Alcantara threw 101 pitches, 74 for strikes, 8 innings, 4 hits, No runs allowed, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. On the other side of things for Ranger Suarez, like I said, 10 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts for him. 81 pitches. His ERA is now down to 4.01. Let's see what you guys have to say about this game. And oh, no, hold on. Got to do the trade deadline. Miss Guzzi. Let's just see what Dave Dombrowski had to say there. See what he had to say about not getting a bat. He said some other things as well. He said that there just wasn't a lot of right-handed bats out there. Okay. Grichuk. Not that I was really excited for Grichuk. Pollock. Not that I was really excited for Pollock. Tommy Pham. A little bit. Actually, I had a dream last night the Phillies got Tommy Pham, so that didn't work out. And there's one more name I'm missing. Canna from the Mets. He got traded as well. So there's a couple of right-handed bats right there. I don't know how many he was looking for. This might be an unpopular opinion, but Howie Roseman has a lot of respect for what he's done in Philadelphia recently. Okay, he's won a championship, all right. Although Dave Dombrowski has only been to a World Series with this Phillies team that he helped construct, obviously. That was the 5th World Series he has been to in his career. Tigers, obviously with the Red Sox. Before that, he made a trade for some veteran catcher to help the Marlins back in the day actually win the World Series. What was that guy's name? Oh, yeah, Darren Dalton. The guy knows how to build a team. In some ways, it feels like the guy just knows what he's doing. The way I look at Howie Roseman right now is a very similar way to the way I look at Dave Dombrowski. And no, it's not just because of what he did here in Philadelphia. Howie Roseman won here in Philadelphia. Everything he's done has been here in Philadelphia. Dave Dombrowski has 2 World Series titles elsewhere about what is it, 21 years apart? That's pretty crazy. But he's been to 5 World Series in his president of baseball operations, general manager career. That's pretty good. Really like that Pat Gillick guy. He did some good things before he came into Philadelphia, right? He had won 2 World Series with the Blue Jays, put together one of the best teams ever there in Seattle, and then he came here and found some pretty good glue pieces to put around guys like, Chase Utley and Ryan Howard and Cole Hamels and Jimmy Rollins and Pat Burrell, right? But we've talked about that. So I kind of trust Dave Dombrowski. I'm not flipping out that he didn't go add another bat. I'm very happy with Michael Lorenzen. Michael Lorenzen's got an incredible story. If you haven't followed it, drugs in the family, drugs as a young man, overcame it. He's a very faith-filled athlete. And bottom line is what he'll be able to do for this team. I picture it in a similar role, but better role than Noah Syndergaard. What Noah Syndergaard brought to the table. I see it in a similar role, if not better role, than Matt Strom in the early goings of this season when you needed him to be a starting pitcher and not a reliever. He could go in there and be your 5th starter. He's going to start later this week. Thursday, I believe, is the day he's going to get the start for the Phillies. He went out there. He made an all-star team. He's really worked on his game. He's really worked on his game to become a starter again after being a relief pitcher for 5 years, 6 years. So it's good to see him back in the rotation and trying to become a starter again. And, of course, we're earning all-star stripes. And then, of course, being brought here to Philadelphia now. I always looked at Michael Lorenzen over the years as the guy with the crazy arm. He's the guy that looks like he's got a toothpick left arm and then a jacked right arm. Like, he looks like he only lifts weights with his right arm. He's a big conditioning guy, big workout guy. Like more so than just the average athlete. Like he's almost on a Gabe Kapler level of workout, okay? That's where I'm going with this. But bottom line, the role is a role that the Phillies needed. And it's a role that they acquired at the deadline last year when they got Noah Syndergaard. And I think what Michael Lorenzen is going to be able to do for this baseball team is a little bit better than what you got from Noah Syndergaard. And I know to a lot of people that's not going to sound like a very high bar, but the Phillies need a little bit better than Noah Syndergaard from last year. They need a little bit better than Matt Strom from the early goings of the season. And Strom held his own as a starting pitcher in the early portions of the season for this team. So I like this acquisition. It's a good acquisition. What I don't understand is Rodolfo Castro. Okay. So you made the move to move on from the Josh Harrison. Okay, DFA him, and you bring in Castro. I don't get it. It's a utility infielder. Hey, look, I didn't really understand Edmundo Sosa when they brought him in, but maybe this is along the same lines, but it's still a younger player. They got rid of a guy that had a lot more experience in Didi Gregorius last year, and they opted for, younger players in that regard, more unknown players in that regard. And look, they ended up going to a World Series. So I do trust Dave Dombrowski to a degree. But what does get under my skin, regardless of the respect that I got for Dave Dombrowski, is Tommy Pham went for what one MLB writer, Bob Nightingale, described as a fringe prospect in a 17-year-old shortstop. The Phillies, in order to get Lorenzen, did not sign, or they did not trade a top 100 prospect. They traded their top top five prospect. But in all the grand scheme of things, he's not even a top 100 prospect in MLB pipeline. So for me, it didn't make a lot of sense that they wouldn't try to pay a price to bring in a better player. They traded Bailey Falter for Castro. To me, it just doesn't make sense. If you had the ability to go out there and add a bat, and if Bryce Harper's not going to be an everyday first baseman, I guess that's why they didn't decide to go out and get Pham. But that was a basement low price. I told you guys a couple of weeks ago when I was going over Tommy Pham being traded last year, it was for a bucket of balls to be named later. Like, that was next to nothing. This year's the same type of thing. At least you have a 17-year-old that might be able to play shortstop in, 10 years. It just seemed like a really bottom price to pay to bring in a guy that could play left field for you tomorrow. And maybe they just really like Yohan Rojas, and maybe they really like Brandon Marsh in left, and I like Brandon Marsh in left. And maybe they're hoping that the decision to be made here is, all right, Bryce Harper's only going to be at first base 3 days a week, 4 days a week tops. The other days you're going to have Brandon Marsh in center field, or you're going to have Yohan Rojas in center field, or you're going to have Kyle Schwarber in left, or you're going to have Brandon Marsh in left. And maybe you get Pache back in the lineup as well. That's what Dave Dombrowski's talking about when he's talking about the in-house stuff. And I told you guys yesterday, the phrase that was living rent-free in my head for the last 2 weeks was him talking about in-house. Everything in-house. We're going to improve based on what we have in-house. And that's what they're betting on right now. Nick Castellanos backed up his president of baseball ops today with that 2-run home run to left field. Bryce Harper certainly backed up his president of baseball ops today with that game-tying RBI double against the left field wall. Ranger Suarez, I know that some of the guys in the rotation might be a little threatened by having another starting pitcher in here, but by all means, I think it's a good acquisition, and the Phillies are going to be using him as, again, a fifth or sixth man in the rotation. They talked about a six-man rotation. They also talked about how he could help in a relief role towards the end of the year, and also help in a relief role if the playoffs do roll around. And the Phillies if the season ended today, on this August 1st, the Phillies go to the playoffs. So that is exciting. One last thing, call it what you will, throwaway or whatever. Through those 8 innings against Sandy Alcantara, remember the game the Phillies had against the Brewers a couple of weeks ago against Corbin Burns? That 4-0 loss where he allowed only 2 hits over 8 innings of work. Do you remember that? This game today just kind of had that feel to it. It just kind of had why the hell did we get out of bed this morning and come to the ballpark? Why are we even here? He's on fire. We can't do anything. And away we go. And then, they got to the bullpen today. They got to David Robertson. Nice to see you again. Good to see you. All right, let's see what you guys are saying about this game in the chat. Check, see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine evening. What the hell's going on here? There we go. Tyler Mullins, what's going on? Greg Benson, I bet my house on Casty striking out. Writing happily from a Red Roof Inn. Well, enjoy. Enjoy a nice Red Roof Inn. John Marinelli, how about the Phillies? Vin G, yippee! Gene Segura, you are Philadelphia Philly. Yeah, Gene Segura got traded, then released. Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, Gene Segura. Did you see him broing out with Kyle Schwarber before the game? He was like, I think I just got traded. Can I just hang out with you guys for a little bit? I think they're going to DFA me anyway. Maybe I'll just stay with you guys. It's going to be a minute before he gets claimed off waivers by the Phillies. Because they're a little bit down there. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, how about Jake from the Hold on. Hold on. It's crazy. How you doing? Sir Sketchable. How about Jake from Cave Farm? Okay, I'll go with it. Picking him up, putting him down. Great win. Seems like we always win against Sandy, even when he's filthy. They didn't win the last time. Tyler Bullets. Gene Segura just got released by the Cleveland Guardians after being traded. That is true. Return of Jeans. Remo K. I'm down with you. Sir Sketchable, respect to Farzi for bringing the energy at 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. every day. Thank you, Sir Sketchable. I appreciate it. It's not me. It's the espresso. Although I only have one espresso before the show in the morning now. I used to do two. I cut back. Responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? Tyler Bullets, what's going on? I wouldn't mind the Phillies bringing back Gene Segura. I'd rather have mean Gene than Castro. You know what I'm saying? Rather have that. Rangers should be the number 2 behind Wheeler at this point, Remo. I am not disagreeing. Rojas season, says Remo. I mean, Walker does lead the league in wins. That is true. True crazy. I like Walker too. Now that we've got a conversation going here. Go Sixers says we just need our supposed high-priced big bats to start hitting. Kath, what a great game. Now I can breathe. Yeah, we can all breathe after that game. That game, man, when Kyle Schwarber worked that walk, I'll tell you honestly when I felt really good about this. Schwarber worked the walk, and Bohm laid off a couple of those pitches, those sliders that were outside. Of course, he didn't lay off the one that was in the dirt, but it just felt like the Phillies had a chance. Felt like the Phillies had a little bit of life. And Harper got to the plate, and I've been telling you guys for the last couple of weeks, even when they've had struggles in Pittsburgh, that it just feels like late in the game, Bryce Harper is going to do something to help you out. It felt like when the Phillies stopped that run from being scored in the 7th inning with the Stubbs deke at home plate. It felt like the Phillies were going to do something special. Like that was going to come back and help the Phillies somehow. Like we talk about it all the time. Like in the first inning today, the Phillies get runners on first and second, nobody out, and the Phillies don't capitalize. Harper grounds into the 4-6-3 double play. We say it all the time. Oh, that won't come back to bite him in the ass. And then it bites him in the ass. Well, the Marlins are stalling, not sliding on that play. Came back and bite them in the butt. Because Kyle Schwarber didn't Bryce Harper didn't just come up and get a run on the board. He tied the game at 1. The mojo and the momentum was back in the direction of the Phillies. And then Nick Castellanos came up and bye-bye baseball. 3-1 ball game. Absolutely fantastic. Also, let me say this. This is the lineup. Did you guys notice that? If you watched the show last night, I said there's one lineup the Phillies got to go with because Castellanos is going to be back in the lineup. And I said that after the other game, actually, no, I'm sorry, excuse me. There was this morning's show, this morning's Farzi show. I had said that after listening to Rob Thompson talk about Alec Bohm batting out of the 2-hole, after the game, he said he was asked about whether or not he would have Bohm return to batting second. And he was like, oh, sure. Oh, sure. You know, we got to figure some things out. But yeah, I would definitely. He didn't give the runaround of like, oh, you know, we got to talk to the guys. We got to have a meeting. We got to have a conversation about it. No, it was, you know what it was? It was, yeah, for sure. And then this morning I said, Schwarber's going to lead off. And I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes already, but that's Rob Thompson's deal. That's the Phillies deal. That's Dave Dombrowski's deal. Kyle Schwarber's the leadoff hitter. Like it or not, Kyle Schwarber's the leadoff hitter. Rob Thompson has said after games, that's how we're going to win, with Kyle Schwarber atop the order. So then the only negotiable part, and he's also said that they don't like the lefties all bunched together at the top of the order. So the only negotiable thing there is Schwarber, Bohm, Harper, Castellanos, Stott, Turner, Marsh, Stubbs. Now, more likely than not, you're probably going to have Castellanos, Stott, Real Muto, Turner. Again, Real Muto, of course, was out the game tonight due to having a hole in his hand. From it looked like a blister that opened up. But that's more likely than not going to be your regular lineup. And the question will be whether or not Harper's going to be at first base or he's going to be at DH. And then the question will be whether or not you have Marsh in left field or Schwarber in left field. And then the question will go on rotate until Harper's ready to play first base more regularly as the season goes on. But we talked about it last night after the game. We talked about it this morning on the show as well. This is at this point, the best lineup you could hope for the Phillies. Alec Bohm deserves this role of being the second hitter in this lineup. 287 batting average. He's had a hit in both days, big hits, at least one hit in both days that he's been up there. 342 on base percentage. That's what you want for a guy that can hit second in any lineup. And Alec Bohm certainly has that. Yes, I am eagerly awaiting some more pop to return to that bat. Return. I should just say come from that bat. He's never been much of a power hitter, but hopefully at the big league level, he grows into that lanky body of his and starts belting baseballs over the left field wall. So let's hope that happens sooner rather than later. Phillies get the win, 3-1 victory for the Fightin' Phils as they come back to get that victory, which is a very nice thing to see. As for tomorrow night, Phillies and Fish back at it. Another 6:40 start time. Phillies will go for the series win over the Miami Marlins. You got Zach Wheeler taking on Braxton Garrett, the lefty. Garrett's coming to the hill, 25 years old. 5-3 in the season with a 4.08 ERA. The last time he faced the Phillies was back on the 8th of July. 5 innings, 3 runs on 6 hits. He did give up 1 home run, and unfortunately, it was a 5-3 victory for the Marlins. As for Zach Wheeler, he's 8-5 on the season with a 3.74 ERA. He is coming off of 2 great starts. The 7-inning performance that unfortunately was a loss in Cleveland against the Guardians, 5 hits, 1 run, and then Pittsburgh last week where the Phillies were able to get that win. It was 6 2/3, 1 run on 3 hits. He issued 1 walk. The last time he faced the Marlins was on July 7th before the All-Star break. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, and he did give up a home run with 7 strikeouts as well. So hopefully Zach Wheeler will have something tricky up his sleeve for the Marlins for tomorrow night, and the Phillies can solidify a series win over the Miami Marlins. As of right now, checking out the wild card standings in the National League. I'll let you know where the Phillies sit right now. Phillies are in a spot where they are still 1 game up on the rest of the competition. The Giants and the Phillies are 1 game up on the Diamondbacks and the Brewers. The Marlins now a half game out of wild card contention. Cubs 3.5 games out of wild card contention. Padres 5 games out of wild card contention. And hey, you know what? While we're on such a high note with the Phillies, if we could just take a second and point and laugh at the New York Mets. I know I did that a little bit earlier when I thanked them for trading David Robertson to the Marlins there. But the Mets are a rudderless ship right now. They got a team officials coming out addressing the media being like, well, we don't know where we're going. Have you talked to Pete Alonso? Well, we mentioned to Pete Alonso that maybe we might possibly rebuild, but we're really not sure yet. So please join me. And while we're celebrating this Phillies win over the Marlins, and helping out their playoff odds, let's also bask in the tears. Yeah, that's it. The tears of the New York Mets as well. Thank you. My name is Marc Farzetta. This is Fightins Postgame. Alex Schmidt produced the program, and it's brought to you by the wonderful people of Colony Pools and Power Washing. Win and save this baseball season with our friends from Colony Pools and Power Washing. Let the experts get rid of that ugly green algae and mold off your roof, off your siding, and off your deck. They service Delaware, Delco, and Chester counties. Call them right now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250. Hey, tomorrow morning, Farzy Show, live, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Make sure you guys catch me right here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel as well as the Farzy Show YouTube channel. We'll let you hear from Dave Dombrowski before and after the trade deadline. We'll let you hear what he had to say, as well as Brian Johnson, Eagles' new offensive coordinator, was addressing the media today for the first time at training camp. A lot of interesting things to say about Jalen Hurts, particularly, let's see if I get this Book of Jalen quote right. I didn't walk through the fire just to smell the smoke. I really love our quarterback. A lot of Eagles conversation tomorrow, as you would assume. Oh, also, on Thursday morning, we'll be joined by Barstool Smitty to talk all things Phillies and, of course, Eagles as well, and maybe touch on that whole remember that James Harden fella? Yeah, neither do I. Anyway, we'll talk to Barstool Smitty about that for Thursday morning. Thanks, everybody. Be back with you guys tomorrow morning, and then again for the Fightins postgame show. Again, Alex Schmidt produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. Hold on a second. I'll get this just in. Alex, do you have that ready to go? I saw that. I think if this is the same Scherzer quote, then yeah, please put it up there. Because, I mean, talk about team officials coming out there talking about how they weren't going to be doing anything. They're not really sure. That is a very long, what is happening? Okay. And now I read aloud to the class. All right. Okay, I think this is it about the direction of the Phillies. or excuse me, the direction of the Phillies, direction of the Mets. 2024 was not going to be a reload situation in New York, and that it was going to be more of a transition in 2024, and that they were looking to make decisions to compete outside my contract window. This is from Max Scherzer. Scherzer said, okay, that's brand new news to me, different than what I'd ever heard out of Steve's mouth, Steve Cohen, owner of the Mets, an art collector. So I was like, all right, I got to hear this directly from Steve. So I had a phone call with Steve, and he basically articulated the same vantage point. That was the new vision for the Mets. That was the new timeline that they were identifying, and that players that were under contract for next year, that they could be potentially sold off at the deadline right now. Wah, wah. Anyway, Phillies won 3-1. Come from behind win over the Miami Marlins. Tomorrow they go for the series win, and then the day after that they go for the sweep. Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Appreciate it. Alex Schmidt, once again, wonderful job as per usual. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Always a blast. See you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day. See you.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.